Hello students, today I am going to teach you the story captioned Packing, written by Jerome K. Jerome. Here main characters are as under. Number 1 is Jerome K. Jerome, who is writer himself. George, friend of Jerome K. Jerome. Harris, also friend of Jerome K. Jerome, and Montmorency is a pet dog possessed by them. So, in this chapter, there are 4 main characters. Number 1, Jerome K. Jerome. Number 2, George. Number 3, Harris. And number 4, Montmorency. Basically, this story has been taken from a novel, 3 Men in a Boat, and this story is very important as it is humorous one. It has been written based upon packing. Packing is very essential at the period of traveling, and it has been mentioned in this chapter that up to what extent packing is essential and how they are involved in packing. In this one, the narrator himself thinks that he is very much skilled in packing, and he asks his 2 friends named George and Harris to keep themselves away from packing. They should leave the whole responsibility to Jerome K. Jerome, and they should enjoy themselves. In real sense, Jerome K. Jerome had asked them to sit and leave the responsibility upon him. But before that one, he had not planned like this. He had thought himself that if he would say them to sit, they would not sit, rather they would keep themselves involved in packing. But as soon as Jerome K. Jerome asked him to sit properly and be away from packing, as packing would be done by him, they sat properly and started watching the process of packing which was being made by Jerome K. Jerome. Jerome K. Jerome thought himself that in real sense Harris was the worst packer. He was not aware of how to do better packing. George was knowing to pack the packing items, but Harris was not aware of it. So he had remarked Harris as the worst packer. When George and Harris were sitting and enjoying feast, George was enjoying just after placing himself there, and Harris was also sitting on a chair just after bending his legs over legs. So just after observing this scene, Jerome K. Jerome was completely irritated. He recalled an incident under which a man was sitting on a sofa in a very comfortable manner and observing him doing the work. According to him, Jerome K. Jerome was not a person who would sit idle, who would sit in comfortable way and observe the person working under him. Rather, he was a man who was willing to supervise the persons who would be working under his care. So he thought himself that if George and Harris would have worked under his supervision, definitely he would suggest them how to do better packing. But it did not happen so. After that, he started packing by himself and strapped the bag of packing. When the packing was over, George asked him whether he had put his toothbrush inside the packing bag or not. Just after listening it, he became irritated and asked him that he should ask such type of questions earlier before packing, as he had strapped the bag, as he had closed the bag. Again, Jerome opened the bag and searched each and every item. At that moment, he found the toothbrush of George and Harris more than 18 times, but he did not find his own. Ultimately, he found that toothbrush inside the bush and found himself in a very perplexed phase when the toothbrush was found by him, and when he closed the bag, again George asked him regarding his spectacles, whether he had packed his spectacles or not. So ultimately, when he was listening such kind of statement by George and Harris, he found that he had packed his spectacles in that packing bag in a hurry. Just after keeping himself involved in packing, he felt himself too much tiresome, as it had taken a long time. Just after observing the phase of Jerome, the mental stage of Jerome, his friends asked him that he should take rest, and hampers, which is a big carrying basket under which food items and utensils are adjusted. They asked him to take rest and they would pack the food items and utensils inside the hampers. Now it was the turn of George and Harris to pack food items and utensils inside the hamper. Now Jerome was sitting over a table and observing them. It was the turn of George and Harris to pack the food items, and they were doing it in a very comfortable manner. They were doing it in enjoyable manner. They don't have stress over themselves in the period of packing. First of all, when they started doing that kind of job, they broke the cup. It was the beginning of packing which was being made by George and Harris. Not only this, tomato was kept under the bottle of strawberry jams, and it was made flattened. Not only this, butter cake was kept on the chair and it was shin. stuck over the back of Harish. So George and Harish both were searching the butter cake which was kept by George on the chair, but it was not found by them, and they were searching it, moving from one place to another place. Ultimately, it was found on the back of Harish, as it was stuck when Harris had sat over the chair. So both were very much enjoying the phase of packing and entertaining themselves. Now it was the turn of Montmorency. Montmorency was sitting there and observing the things which were being packed by George and Harris. As George and Harris were packing the food items, so Montmorency was moving here and there and smelling the things, as Montmorency was thinking that those things were edible things, and he was trying to smell over it, he was trying to eat it. He was scattering the things which were placed there, because he was not a human being, he was an animal, and showing the nature as animal poaches. So they were very much disturbed by the actions taken by Montmorency, and they were thinking that George had encouraged him to do like that. George admitted that it was the nature of Montmorency and he had not been encouraged by him. Ultimately, the packing was over at 12:50 p.m. and they had to start their journey early in the morning. It was decided by Jerome that the journey would be started at 6 a.m. But Harris interrupted, and after discussion it was fixed that the journey would be started at 6:30 a.m. So ultimately, just after deciding the time factor early in the morning, they went to sleep, and on that very phase, George had put a bathtub so that when Harris would awake and start for journey, he would tumble with it. So in that sense, it can be said that just after taking a job of packing, they were not doing better packing, rather they were enjoying the phase of packing, under which Jerome, considering himself as skilled in the phase of packing, was finding himself under the nervous phase, as George and Harris were taking a better interest in the packing when the things were being packed by Jerome. So ultimately it can be said that this chapter is a very, very important one on the basis of packing, which is essential and used by everyone before the period of traveling. So this story is very interesting, and which packing has been depicted by the narrator Jerome in order to reflect the importance of packing before traveling. Thank you very much.